you're gonna break into. Up on you.
Time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligari. It's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you're listening. Hope you're doing all right. Busy show schedule today, like usual. Don't forget the show's being brought to you in part by Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you're looking for a limo and you want a hot driver driving you around, and you got to give my girl Cat a call, 202-351-7496. Anywhere in the U.S. and even Canada, Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service is the limo service for you. Give her a call, 202-351-7496. Tell her Billy C. sent you, but just remember, she's my girl. The show is also being brought to you in part by Kimberly and Tomkovich. That's right. If you're looking for a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble. And that is Camp and Aaron Tomkovich, 845-221-4099. That's 845-221-4099. 4099. Let Camp and Aaron Tomkovich knock out your legal problem. 845-221-4099. The show's also being brought to you in part by my friends down at the Halftime Bar and Grill, Route 9, South Glens Falls. Hey, man, if you're in the area, or maybe if you are visiting the area, make sure you swing by the Halftime Bar and Grill. Always good people hanging around there. They got drink specials all the time, live entertainment on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because Sunday and Mondays you got the beach ball volleyball league with the girls bouncing around the sand. That's right. Give them a call, 518-792-4869. And by the way, if you like hot wings, and if you're a man or a woman enough, ask Craig to make you the Billy C. hot sauce. That's right. Check it out and let me know what you think. 518-792-4869. And the show's also being brought to you in part by the Whitehall Athletic Club. If you're looking to join a class act club with golf and swimming and all kinds of sporting events. A full gym, restaurant, bar, all that stuff. Check out the Whitehall Athletic Club, www.whitehallathleticClub.com. And don't forget, August 24th, we're bringing live professional boxing there. That's right, man. For the World Junior Welterweight title, Chavez Fist of Steel Halbach is going up against Victoria Cisneros. Victoria Cisneros is one of the toughest female fighters on the planet today. And she's going to be battling a pound-for-pound fighter that's at the downswing of her career. That's right. Chevelle Halbach is looking to get one or two more fights and then call it a day. She's had a very successful career, so make sure you make your plans for August 24th. It's right around the corner, and the rest of the card is filled with quality younger fighters, so we'll get a chance to see a lot of them. But anyway, coming up in a little bit, we got some boxing news, of course. Got an update on Lamont UW Peterson and what's going on with him in the IBF. We got some Olympic boxing news. Who won the super heavy in that one? Maybe it was a robbery, I don't know. But also we got some vows from the United States Olympic Committee to go back and make some changes. The United States didn't do too well. The girls, that's right, the two girls came home with medals, that's it. And Clarissa Shields stole the show with the gold. But then we got one bronze, and that's it. First time in the history of the men's Olympic boxing team that we came home goldless. Then we came home medalless, as a matter of fact. Forget goldless. How about medalless? That's the first time this year. So I also got some discussions on some crazy stuff going on in the boxing world in training camps, man, or lack of. That's right. We got some big name fighters supposed to be getting ready for big fights, the biggest fight of his career. Maybe he's not training too well. Then you got some other fighters who's trying to make a splash in the cruiserweight division, and instead of punching his opponents, he's beating up on his trainers. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But first, like we do every day, we got a couple of emails to read from the mailbag. I forgot to tell you. Emily, that's right. Emily Harney, boxing's best photographer. She's going to be joining us a little bit later on the show, about an hour or so, hour and a half maybe. We'll get her take. She was covering some fights on Sunday that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And don't forget, hey, remember when I told you guys that I called the action in Georgia? You know, I did a show down in Atlanta. I invited my friend Kaylee, but she refused to come. But I wish she would have. I had a miserable time there. Miserable. It was just terrible. However, the main event was nothing less than, guy bit him, man. The guy, Georges Barthélemy was winning on the scorecards and bit Grady Brewer. That's right, that same Grady Brewer that was on the Contender Series who won it. Bit him on the neck like a vampire, and Barthélemy got disqualified after he was up, at least on my unofficial scorecard, by 2 points going into that fifth round. And bit him right on the neck. You saw his teeth marks and everything. As a matter of fact, LDL TV, who you very well may be watching the replay of this show right now on, did the production work that night and got close-ups of it in slow motion and everything. A piece of his neck didn't get spit out on the canvas like Tyson bit off a piece of Evander Holyfield's ear. But it was certainly interesting. And guess what? You're going to be able to see it. I'm going to have it up on BillyCBoxing.com, I think, later today, just that fight. And then, of course, LDL TV is going to have the whole card. So you can get to hear me talking, doing my thing. And you get to watch a historical fight that up until now was only available through a webcast pay-per-view. That was it. So make sure you tune in for that. But anyway, and yeah, it will be up on BillyCBoxing.com probably later today under the Wednesday Night Fights banner. You know that banner. But anyway, yeah, Emily Harney will be joining us a little bit. So let me get into some of these emails right now. This one came from my main man, Curon. Now, Curon's actually part of the show, but he never wants any credit. But he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and he sent in a mailbag. And the mailbag says, "I got just a quick question." And this is referring to the scoring for the Olympics. He says, why can't they have sensors in Olympic... he says, why can't... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He said, why can they have sensors in Olympic Taekwondo that registers the hits and boxing can't use a similar technology, at least in the Olympics? He says, surely this proves that the equipment is getting there, but no one is pushing it like they should. He says, think about it. Right now, there are real CompuBox-style systems working where a hit is really a hit. Could be a big thing in our sport one day. I agree with Curon. Definitely could be a big thing in our sport. And I was saying last week or maybe the week before that, as far as the CompuBox stats go, I can't stand listening to the commentators referring and calling a fight based on those statistics when those statistics are all subjective to the person that's keeping track. I said that as soon as you take it out of the human hands, as soon as the human element is removed, then I will buy those stats as being stats. Like in baseball, you go 1 for 2, you're batting 50%. 500, you're batting 500. You throw a football 10 times and you gain 100 yards in passing. You're averaging 10 yards a pass. It's stats. It's cut and dry. Boxing is not like that because somebody that's calling the shot may say it's a legal blow. Some may say it missed. Some may say it was a jab or it was a hard punch or a jab is a jab. But hey, when you knock someone out with a jab, CompuBox doesn't score that as a power punch. It scored it as a jab. So crazy stuff. Anyway, I got to take a break. I'll be back in about 2.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Roselli Enterprises. Roselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Roselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RoselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the ideal computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at IBOboxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy. One dream. One day. Everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase. Coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. You're checking out the replay on LDL TV. Glad you could join us. Maybe even YouTube watching that. As we still ponder what we're going to be doing with that. It was an experiment that has lasted a little longer than we thought. So we'll have to wait and see what's going on. Hey, a reminder. Don't forget we got some stuff coming up. Yeah, we got some stuff coming up. First and foremost, we got the August 24th show in Whitehall, New York. Yeah, what a small little town that is. You know, I mean, yeah, it's the birthplace of the United States Navy, but it's a little town, man. It's like you drive through it and you sneeze. You know when you sneeze and you close your eyes because you know the rumor. If you sneeze with your eyes open, your eyeballs pop out of your head. So you can't really be doing that. You know, you can't be sneezing with your eyes open, man. Your eyes will be popping out your head, man. You know, but if you sneeze while you're driving through Whitehall, you'll either drive into the canal or you drive right through it, and it's gone. Whoa, what was that? That was Whitehall. They do have a McDonald's. They do have a McDonald's in there, That's why everybody's so fat. Everybody in Whitehall's fat. But anyway, I guess I should and now I'm going to tell you, why don't you come on up to Whitehall? Why don't you come on up to Whitehall and watch the show that we're going to be doing on the 24th? Actually, you can actually watch it from your living room or wherever you got your computer set up. Maybe if you're rich, like I think OK Cool, man, because OK Cool, he's in the chat room right now, and I think he's he's from California. I think he is. I think he's from California. Everybody's rich out there, so he's probably got like a big screen TV that he can hook his laptop to and watch us. And that's what we're going to be doing, because on August 24th, Friday, a week from this Friday, we're going to be broadcasting the whole event for free. And it's going to be a world championship event. Chevelle Halbach against Victoria Cisneros, and a whole bunch of undercard fights that are really matched well, man. Really matched well. So you got to check that out. LDL TV will be broadcasting it for free, but we want you to be there live, because you're going to be witnessing some excellent young fighters, including my girl Naomi Bascu, who's going to be fighting in her second professional fight, and she's fighting a tough girl out of Brooklyn, New York, that all she wants to do is fight, man. She's like, I just want to fight. I just want to fight. So Naomi's going to be fighting her, and I'm going to have some stuff going out about that a little later. So make sure you mark it down. August 24th, we will be in Whitehall, New York. Check it out. www.ldltv is where it's going to be broadcasting for free, the way webcast should be. Also, on September 7th, we'll be doing a live broadcast out of Tampa. One of my, it's become my second home, I think, Tampa, Florida. I've been down there a lot this year, and I'll be doing another show at Alessi Promotions, September 7th. Looking forward to that one. My man Silky Wilkie Camford is the main event there. For both these fights, you can check out the website, www.billycboxing.com. Click the fight poster, and that'll get you, that'll redirect you to where you can get some info on that. And then we come back the next day. I got to shuffle out of Tampa on September 8th in the morning to be back in this studio right here in New York to do a post-fight show of the big fight that's taking place. Andre Ward and Chad Dawson, two young fighters getting it on, as Mills Lane would say. And they're going to be battling it out. And we're going to do a post-fight show immediately following the conclusion of that show. So usually it's about 5 minutes before the fight. As soon as the fight's over, we go live on Fight Now. So make sure you check that out. And then we're going to be in Las Vegas for the whole week leading up to the Super Saturday where we have some two great fights that are literally a couple miles from each other. First and foremost, Julio Cesar Chavez is taking on Sergio Martinez for the world middleweight title. And then that's on a pay-per-view. And then up the street, we're going to have Saul Alvarez taking on the kid we all love. And I've been telling you about Josito Lopez. That's going to be going on Showtime. And then we're going to be doing a post-fight show live from the new Fight Now studio in Las Vegas. So I'm excited about that. But the whole week leading up to that, we're scheduled to be doing this show right out of Las Vegas in that beautiful studio. We're going to be airing it at a different time live. So everybody that's getting up early or staying up late, for Kaylee and Brandon, who haven't gone to bed yet, probably cool. Okay, cool, too. He probably didn't go to bed yet either. So for guys like you and gals, you'll be able to, actually get some sleep and tune in live. So, but for all you podcasters and radio listeners, you'll get your show regular time. Anyway, mark all those dates down. That's what's happening for the next several weeks. Back to the mailbag, we got EQX says, I've been watching the Olympics. Reminds me of one of Manny's ridiculous excuses for not taking a random drug test up to and including the day of the event. He says, especially saying he's scared of needles and saying it would weaken him. Every Olympic athlete is subject to that very same testing, and all I see are records being broken in top performances. Imagine any other athlete coming in with those lame excuses. And what fighter wouldn't want to fight on an even playing field knowing that you and your opponent are clean? An even playing field is important, whether they're clean or whether they're dirty. If they're dirty, as long as the other guy's dirty, then it's even, right? But, it was a lame excuse. I can't stick up for Manny much anymore. I definitely wasn't in Manny's corner. I definitely was in Manny's corner for the longest time. I got to be honest, it's very hard to do these days. Not that I don't like him. Not that I don't like Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is a likable guy. There's no question about it. That little fella. Hey, little buddy. Like on, remember, what was it, Gilligan's Island? Hey, little buddy. But anyway, I guess you're too young to know that. But anyways, Leonard Ellaby called him a little fella. That little fella. But anyway, I can't argue with EQX. It was a lame excuse, And was that his? Did he ever actually say that? Or was that another one of Bob Arum's fabricated lines? I was lying yesterday, but I'm telling the truth today. That's my favorite line by Bob Arum. No. Really. I was lying yesterday, but today I'm telling you the truth. Oh, yeah, I'm going to believe you now. Bobby. I love my man Given Quality last week. He says, hey, how's that stadium coming along? You remember he was building the stadium in Las Vegas. They were building a stadium, and they were getting it ready for the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight that was supposed to happen. And Bob Arum says, we got a contract to run it right now. We're building an outdoor stadium. It won't be ready in time. It won't be ready in time for Mayweather. And Given Quality says last week or the week before, he said, yeah, how's that stadium coming along? They never did. They never even broke out a shovel. For that, man. But anyway, cool email, EQX. I appreciate that. My man Hawk says, I agree. And this is getting back to the Olympic scoring. He says, I agree. I hate the scoring of the amateur and the Olympic boxing. It's nothing like pro boxing today. Amateur boxing is to pro boxing as flag football is to the NFL. That's a good analogy. Flag football, it depends. There is a flag football league, I believe, that's out there that's professional. And these guys are unbelievable. I mean, and what makes them unbelievable is the, how you can't touch them. Elusive. Talk about being elusive. Barry Sanders, great Detroit Lion running back, used to play flag football. I believe he was the one that never played tackle football in high school. He came from a small school, and they only played flag. And this guy was you couldn't you go to tackle him and he's like not there anymore. It's you just never even touched him, let alone get your hands on him to rip a flag off. So that level of flag football is exceptional. However, I know that Hawks Point wasn't pro flag. He's talking about flag football when you're a kid and you're playing flag football, comparing it to the NFL, and that is a good analogy with the scoring, because I mean, really, how can you knock a guy down and have it scored the same value of points, or it would scored as 1 point, as just a jab landing flush? That's the same as if I land a shot on you that knocks you right off your feet. They're equal. If I land one jab and you land a shot that knocks me off our feet and they stop the round, it scored 1-1. How does that happen? So this is good. And I'll tell you the truth, they changed that a little bit, and although I am glad that the British fighter won the super heavyweight gold medal in the Olympics yesterday, but the bottom line is my Italian guy, the guy I was pulling for, the 32-year-old. He was beating, he was battering the British guy for the first 2 rounds, and then the Brit came back and won, beat him up pretty bad in the last round, and it just seems like they gave more points to the Brit. But then again, it was in London. But anyway, Hawk, great email there, and my man Manophonic says on Russian boxers. Oh God, no. Oh no, here it comes, because I was making fun of the Russian women weightlifters of the 80s and 90s. Come here, baby. Imagine being married to one of them. I said, put out the garbage. Hey, honey, can I borrow your razor? Oh God. Anyway, on Russian boxers, he says, they look like someone opened the trap door and let the KGB experiments out of the laboratory. Speaking of hideous creatures from the East, what happened to Valuev? A fight with Klitschko would be fun. The hideous creatures. I mean, first of all, they were pretty bad, right? I mean, come on. I'm not being disrespectful or nothing, but those women, those Russian women athletes of the 80s were, come on, man. They had to have something. They were doing something, man. It wasn't the water, okay? It wasn't the water. They looked manly. They had no lines, no even resemblance to a female in my book. But anyway, hideous creatures. I met Nikolai Valuev. I was in Denmark about 1.5 years ago, and we were at the fight. Chevelle Halbach was fighting Cecilia Brakis, and I where the dressing rooms were, they were like, down in a dungeon type of a thing of this venue, and I one of the elevators were broken, and I had to get back to the dressing room because I was watching the preliminary fights. There was a couple of fights I wanted to watch, so I was watching the preliminary fights. I had to get back down in the dressing room where the trainer and Chevelle were, and the elevator was broken, so they directed me to the the service elevator, where they bring like pallets of stuff in there. And that's where I met Nikolai Valuev, who filled he was the biggest. I mean, listen, I'm not a tall guy, all right? I'm 5'8.5", maybe 5'9" if I'm wearing platform sneakers. But, I mean, the thing is I literally came up to this guy's waist. He was the biggest guy. And talk about hideous creature. Manophonics is not lying, man. This is a guy that has more hair on him than the apes at the zoo. I mean, he was freakish, man. Monster guy, just a monster guy. But he was a nice guy. He doesn't speak that much English, and I see his hand. His hand was like the size of this table, I mean, it was he was the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life. 7'4", and he's a big dude. I don't think a fight between him and Klitschko would be fun at all. It would be a beating. Just remember, David Hay, which I thought did not win him on my score, did not beat him on my scorecard, did not win him. What the hell kind of English is that? But he did rock him. So what the hell would Klitschko do to him?
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretch of that man, I would think.
You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From upstate New York and the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting me? What?
Wrong.
What's the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask you.
Wrong speech.
Leave,
What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And, well, back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. And you're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. I want to welcome the Fight Now audience who's joining us like they do every day, Monday through Friday, from 6 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you don't have the Fight Now channel on your sports channel lineup, then you need to call your local television provider, whether it's satellite dish or cable, and tell them that you want the Fight Now channel right now. It's that simple. For all the information about the channel, you can find it on their website, www.fightnow.com. My man, OK Cool, was asking about hot sauce. You like hot food, man? I love hot spicy food. There's no question about it, you know. But that hot sauce, and let me tell you, he's asking about the hot sauce at the Halftime Bar and Grill that I'm always talking about. You know, he makes it as close to my own as possible. But I will go on record right now as saying that I do make the best hot sauce on the planet. I mean, there's just no qualms about that. And I guarantee if we ever do a big Billy C get together, especially for people that like wings and stuff like that, I'll bring a batch. And if you don't think that it's the best, I'll be shocked. As a matter of fact, Jeremy C., the producer of this show, who's never here, He's in Detroit. But he thinks we should bottle it. He wants to. He's got this. He's got dollar signs in his eyes. He wants to start this. He says, people. People have their own product line. Let's do the hot sauce. I'm thinking more like Scotch. Maybe we should do like a Scotch line. I don't know. But anyway, we'll. What? What are you talking about? Hang fire, saying that there's a firewall that says it's a point. What are you talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. Well, let's talk about the fight results. We got Emily Harney coming up in a little bit, but anyway, I think hanging fire. I think the government workers, man. I mean, who knows where he's watching us from? It's probably being channeled through something else. Normally I do like Saturday's fights, and then I work my way back. But today I'm going to just do it in order because it's kind of a slow weekend. And this weekend coming up is kind of slow, at least for the TV schedule. But there are a lot of fights all around the world. This coming up this week, and some good ones too. So we'll get to that maybe later, but definitely later in the week. Friday night, the main event of ESPN Friday Night Fights was a good one. Hey, how many people thought that Sugar Shane Mosley did a nice job on as the color man for Joe Tessitore, filling in for the guy that should never come back, Teddy Atlas? I thought he did fantastic. I like Sugar Shane, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. We've had an interview with him. As a matter of fact, it's up on the website. If you want to ever, if you ever want to go back and listen to some of these interviews we did, just go under the hot interviews section at BillyCBoxing.com. So, yeah, he's got an Android. Hanging Fire says, I'm listening to the show through my Android. Yeah, that sounds like a porn site right there, my Android. No, I know what an Android is. I have one too. But anyway, close fight Friday night main event. Darley Perez won a 10-round split decision of let's just call him Bado Mamajanov. Yeah, I like listening to them saying Mamajanov. It's like Mama Jama. And Mama Jama comes back with the right hand. Ooh, Mama Jama hurts him. He stuns him. Mama Jama. It's Mama Janov. But I don't know, man. I had that fight a draw. I mean, there's no question about it that the knockdown helped Perez. But Perez was in some serious trouble early on. I think what it shows us is that European or Ukrainian or, the other non-United States style of boxing, or lack of defense or lack of offense, or a combination of both. I mean, I know I just pretty much covered everything, but it's true. I mean, Mamajamov, if this guy did two things more, he not only does he win the fight, he probably knocks out Perez. I mean, Perez is supposed to be a blue chip prospect, who's actually moving up as a contender now. But think of this. Riddle me this, Batman. If Mamajamov, if he had a little defense, if he kept his hands up the way he should, and he used a jab instead of just headhunting, he reminded me, he fought very similar to Denis Ledebev. If you've ever seen Denis Ledebev fight, it's almost like they're the same guy. And I think that if Mamajanov, I love saying that, Mamajama, if Mamajama, had a little more offense, I think he wins the fight. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter the way the judges scored it. Two judges had the score in favor of Darley Perez at 96-93. And the third had it in favor of Mamajamov as 95-94. I don't know how they gave it. The only way they could have given the extra round to Perez was because in the first rounds, that very first round was like you go to score that first round and you're like, huh? Who should I give that one to? They didn't do nothing, and I gave it to Mamajamov because I thought he was more aggressive. So that's the only reason there. The other scores are indicative of the knockdown, and the fact that Mamajamov did not drop Perez, although he was in some trouble. Who knows? Who knows? In the co-main event, oh, by the way, Perez improves to 26-0 with 19 knockouts. And Mamajamov, he loses for the first time in his career 11 wins and 1 loss with 7 knockouts. Now, the co-main event was pretty damn good, too. Chris Avielos is a fighter that, a lot of people wrote off. His fight, I liked his fight against, who was it? He fought Chris, who's the other Chris? Chris Avielos fought Christopher Martin. And, I had picked Martin in that fight. And Avielos won that one. It was a Showtime fight. Up until that point, I didn't think that much of Avielos. But he looked really good on Friday night. He won a 10-round unanimous decision over Yenfel Vicente, who, he looked good at times. I mean, Vicente was the undefeated guy. He only lost for the first time. He drops to 23 wins, a loss, and a couple of draws. And Avielos, he lost. He won. He improves to 20 wins and 2 losses with 15 knockouts. The way the judges scored it, and all 3 of them had it at the same score, 97-92. And I think the big difference there was the fact that Vicente hit the canvas in the 5th round, and he was stunned a couple of other times, and he just didn't let his hands go. So that's what lost him the fight. But it was interesting. It was an entertaining fight, entertaining night on Friday Night Fights. Now some of the fights that you didn't see, they had Alejandro Luna stopped Eddie Ramirez in the 6th round. It was a scheduled 6-round fight, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Luna improves to 10-0 with 8 knockouts in that one. That was in the lightweight division. In the super welterweight division, Giovanni Rodriguez, he won a 6-round decision over Clevin Ishii. The way the judges scored that one was 60-54 twice, and one judge had a 59-55. He improves to Rodriguez improves to 7-0 with 4 knockouts, and Ishii drops to 3 wins and 8 losses with a knockout. In the lightweight division, Jonathan Masilio won a 6-round unanimous decision over Wilfred Acuna. The way that one panned out was the scores were 60-53. All 3 judges saw it that way in favor of Masilio. He improves to 18-0 with 10 knockouts, and Acuna dropped to 13-12. And the first fight of the night was Glenn Porras in the super bantamweight division. He won an 8-round decision over Jose Silveira. All 3 judges scored the fight the same, 79-73. I'm sorry, 2 of the 3 judges scored the fight the same, 79-73. The third had it 78-74. Porras goes to 27-3, and Silveira drops to 12-8 with 4 knockouts. Another fight that took place on Friday night was the return of Gary St. Clair, and he fought Love More Than Do, the Black Panther. But the Black Panther, the former champion, not once but twice, came and won a unanimous decision over the other former champion, Gary St. Clair. The way the judges scored it, 117-112, and 2 of them had it at 116-112, all in favor of Love More Than Do. He improves to 49 wins, 13 losses, 2 draws, with 31 of his W's coming by knockout. And Gary Superman St. Clair drops to 42 wins, 12 losses, and 2 draws, with 18 of his wins coming by knockout. It took place in Australia. Gary's the only guy I know that spells his name Gairy. Gairy. So, a guy that I think is basically a fraud. I'm saying it. He's a fraud. And that's Travis Kaufman. You know, they call him the Great White Hope. Let me ask you a question. You know, I got to be honest. You know, I mean, I find that offensive. I find that offensive, and I think that you know, in this world, you know, with all the prejudice that we have, I don't think a nickname should be that. To be honest with you, now on paper, you know, I mean, you know, I'm Italian, and on paper, I guess I got to be considered Caucasian. They don't have Mediterranean there. They have, you know, you got a choice. You're either Caucasian, you're either black, you're either Hispanic, or you're Asian. That's it when you're filling out. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you could be Native American too. I don't know. I don't know what you can be, but you know what? You know, I think that's kind of a prejudiced and racist nickname, in my opinion, the Great White Hope. Because if you understand where its origination was from, it actually took place when one of my favorite fighters of all time fought, and that's Jack Johnson. Now, he fought during a time when this country was very prejudiced. There's no question about that. But because he won the title, and because nobody on the planet could beat him for a while, whether you were black or white, they actually, I say they, the powers that be, us, the United States, actually had a white heavyweight champion. And they publicly searched for the next great white hope, is what they said. As a matter of fact, there were Gunboat Jim Smith was one of the champions. He was a white. He was called the white heavyweight champion of the world. And I remember reading, I believe it was in this corner, chronicle all these great fighters. The book was written in the late '60s, I believe, or early '70s. It was released the first time, and a lot of these guys were still alive from that era. And they asked Gunboat Smith, you know, what it felt like to be a heavyweight champion, and he laughed. And this was a guy that was prejudiced. He dropped the N-word more than, you know, anybody. And he said that, hey, man, the greatest fighter of all time, in his opinion, at this time when he was interviewed, he said was Jack Johnson. I was no champion. Jack Johnson was the champion. He said that was the toughest, and he used the N-word, that I've ever seen in my life. So, and if you don't believe me, read it. It's in this corner. But I find that offensive that Travis Kaufman uses that nickname. And you know what else I find more offensive? That he calls himself a professional fighter, because he's not very good. He improved to 23 wins and a loss with 17 knockouts. He had been out for a year. I didn't even miss him. He beat Charles Davis, who dropped to 19 wins, 23 losses, and 3 draws. It was a fight that was outside. They had to reduce it because the rounds because of the weather, and he went. It was a 7-round fight. 7 rounds. It was supposed to be 10, I think, and they had to. I'm sorry, it was 8 rounds, but they had to call the fight after 7 because of the weather conditions. I've heard of baseball games getting suspended. I've even heard of football games lately. When I was a kid, they never suspended football. But now, if there's a little lightning, you know, torrential downpours or something, they suspend football too. But nonetheless, the scores, all 3 had it 70-63. I guess that's why they said it was okay to just hang it up, because his opponent Charles Davis had no chance to win. Kaufman improves to 23 wins, a loss, with 17 knockouts. So anyway, on Saturday, you know, a very important thing happened, at least in my mind. You know, Brian Vera. You know, I got to meet Brian Vera, and to this day I feel bad, because Andy Lee was fighting Brian Vera at the Mohegan Sun, beautiful casino in Connecticut. And here's what happened. Andy Lee had been scheduled to be on this show, and he didn't show up. Now, we gave him another chance, and he didn't show up again. And because I was doing a favor for Manny Stewart, I called him a 3rd time, and he didn't show up. 3 times. So on air, I said, that's it. Andy Lee is never allowed to come on the show. I don't care if he calls in. I don't care. He's not allowed to be on the show. And I was fooling around. And I put the whammy on him. I said, we just gave him the Billy C curse. He's going to get knocked out on Saturday. Well, you all know that Brian Vera stepped in the ring and, knocked out Andy Lee. But here's the thing. I got to meet Andy Lee just before the fight. He was out and he was taking pictures, and he was such a nice kid. He was like apologizing to me so bad that I was guilty. I felt guilty. And I never thought in a million years at that point that Brian Vera was going to beat him. And as a matter of fact, I'm ringside with 2011 Billy C. Boxing Hall of Famer John Iceman Scully. And I said to him, we were talking about it. And everyone ringside, it wasn't a matter of who was going to win the fight. When you were talking about the fight, Brian Vera against Andy Lee, it wasn't a matter of who was going to win. It was when Andy Lee was going to knock out Brian Vera. And I said, well, we issued the curse on him, and Brian Vera can bang a little bit, and everybody laughed at me. Iceman Scully comes up to me just before the fight was stopped, I think a round before, and he says, looks like Andy's taking a beating, and he started to take a beating. And we all know what happened after that. Brian Vera knocks him out. And it kind of catapulted Brian Vera, who's basically a tough guy from Texas. Well, I'm starting to, fall in love with Texas, the state of Texas. I don't know why, but and he comes from Texas, and he knocks out Andy Lee, and it kind of catapults his career a little bit. I also got to see him fight a couple other times in New York and stuff. Well, he fought this weekend over Sergio Mora. Now, let me just tell you this. I have never liked Sergio Mora. I have no idea why. I think, when he was on Contender, he just was a boring fighter. He fought my guy. I was pulling for Manfredo. I know that he had a nice story, with his mom. Him and his mom were real close. I think his father left him or some crap like that. I don't know what the story was. But it was a close relationship between him and his mom, and he won it for her, and it was a nice feel good story, the Contender. But that doesn't mean that Sergio Mora was ever an interesting fighter, even on the Contender. He's boring. Mario Mulcahy was talking about him on Friday, saying, well, he's a good defensive fighter, he's slick, he's this, he's that. And yes, he mentioned that he did beat Vernon Forrest. And, Vernon Forrest. And, which I thought Vernon Forrest got robbed, in both the fights. And he also fought Sugar Shane Mosley to a draw. I mean, this guy is he's just a snoozer, right? Well, Brian Vera fought him earlier and beat him, and Mora just felt that he was robbed, and everybody said it was a fluke. Everyone said it was a robbery, this and that and the other thing. And they fought again over the weekend. This time, no fluke. Although one score was kind of out of whack. And this is the problem with our scoring system. Here's the deal. All three judges scored the fight as follows. 118, 110, 117, 111. No problem, right? One-sided fight, all in favor of Brian Vera. Oh, I forgot the other score. 114, 114. Huh? How did two judges see it 118, 110, and 117, 111, and the third guy has it at 114? 3-point difference minimum from the one scorecard. 3 points. That must have been Mora's mother. Must have been a judge. But nonetheless, Sergio, the Latin snake, the Latin gardener snake, he drops to 23 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws with 7 knockouts. That's another thing. He can't knock anybody out. And Brian Vera, he improves to 21-6 with 12 knockouts. I double-checked that record because I'm saying to myself, does he have that many wins? Because I didn't think he fought that many times. But, yeah, he's quietly been getting some wins together. Wins, another big one. That's going to set Brian Vera up for a fight someplace with some money. He's a middleweight. Hey, how about him and Kelly Pavlik? Kelly's looking for a fight. They're looking for a winnable fight. They're going to take Brian Vera lightly. What do you think? You think he beats him? Speaking of middleweights, my man Murphy, we were talking about middleweights last week, and, he puts Bernard Hopkins in his top 10. Then he was kind enough to put him up under the forum. And speaking of the Billy C. Forum, Let's get that thing going again, people. Come on, man. We were doing really well with that forum, and it dropped off. All because of Joe Santaliquido, and I stuck up for Joe. Everyone got mad and left the forum. Well, come on back, man, because it's cool, and there's always good people there, so check it out. And, let's do this. If you get a chance, send me your top 10 all-time great top 10 middleweight list. Send me 10, or if you feel comfortable, send me 12. But I'll go through them this week, and I'll give you my top 10 at the end of the week, all right? Let's do it, because Murphy had a pretty good list. So, Murph, you send me, I'll tell Murph when he gets in here. But send me your top 10 middleweights of all time, and we'll read it on the air. Top 10 middleweights all time. Who's your top 10? So check it out. On the co-main event, Antonio Escalante, he improved to 27-4 with 19 knockouts when he knocked out Leonardo Miranda in the second round, which is pretty impressive. Miranda drops to 36 wins, 5 losses, and the official time was 1 minute and 19 seconds of the second round. One other fight I want to mention, and then we'll take a short break, and then I got some other fights to talk about. Hey, what happened to my? I misplaced my. Here they are. Here they are. I forgot that I passed by some from Saturday. I got right into the Vera. I got right into the Vera fights. Let's talk about the KO, Victor KO. Now my man just beat Victor KO, and that's my kid Nate Campbell. Yeah. I almost forgot who my man was, but Victor KO just lost to my man Nate Campbell, but he righted the ship. He's ranked in the top 15 by a couple of the sanctioning bodies in the welterweight division, and it's not that De Jesus was superstar, but he was pretty good. He was unbeaten. Julio De Jesus and Victor KO, he took care of this guy in 3 rounds, knocks him out, and his record now is 29 wins, 3 losses, with 21 coming by knockout. And Julio De Jesus, he drops 15-1, losing for the first time with 14 knockouts. De Jesus went down not once but twice in the first round, and then one more time in the third round, and the referee stopped the fight to save him. to save him. Yeah. This was one of the fights that Samson Boxing put on. It was a dual fight weekend. And I'll mention one more fight from Saturday before we take a break. Sean Estrada. He was a 2008 Olympian. He improved to 15-0 with 13 knockouts when he took care of Felix Piedra, who drops the first loss of his career. Now he's 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. This was at 1 minute and 23 seconds of the second round. So this is in the light heavyweight division. So Sean Estrada, he improves to 15-0 with 13 knockouts. So in the co-main event, it was an 8-round fight, and also in the light heavyweight light heavyweight division, Anatoly Dudchenko scored a 8-round decision over Alfredo Contreras. All 3 judges scored at 80-72. Dudchenko improved to 15 wins, 2 losses, with 10 of his wins coming by knockout, and Contreras drops to 11 wins, 14 losses, and 3 draws. And in the junior welterweight division, a 4-round fight, Leon Spinks, number 3. He had to settle for a draw, even though most people ringside felt that he won every single round. His record now is 2 wins, no losses, and a draw, 1 knockout, and that was against Eduardo Melendez, who was 0-2. And now he has a draw. So now he's the grandson of Leon Spinks, the son of Corey Spinks. So we'll see the way the scores were with 39-37 for Spinks, but both the other judges had it 38-38. And that wraps up that part of Saturday's fights. I got a couple more from Saturday and some Sunday fights, all coming up in about 2.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TALKINBOXING.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh?
What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show. He's Billy C, and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. And if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, better get it. Call your local television provider, whether it's cable or satellite, and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. For all the information about the channel, you can visit on the website, www.fightnow.com. My man, OK Cool, is busting my you-know-whats about me messing up. Hey, listen, if you like other sports, make sure you tune in to the Talkin' New York Sports with Billy C and Brooklyn Mike. Now, we air the show live every Saturday, and you could be part of it right here on BillyCBoxing.com in the same chat room, everything. As a matter of fact, we encourage you to check it out and be part of the show, and we'll bring you into the show. We'll give you comments and everything else. Now, yes, we talk about New York sports teams, but we also talk about other stuff. And what he's making fun of me about is Dwight Howard, with the Orlando Magic, was finally traded to the Lakers. And I kept referring to him as Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard this, Dwight Howard that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I kept referring to him as Kevin Howard. His name is Dwight Howard. And, Brooklyn Mike let me, screw up at least, I don't know, Cool. How many times? I must have said it at least 3 times. And then he finally, a couple minutes later, says, "Oh, by the way, it's Dwight Howard, not Kevin. Kevin Howard was like on White Men Can't Jump or something, And I'm like, oh, man, thanks, Brooklyn Mikey. But, hey, if you're interested in that show, check it out. We have it right on BillyCBoxing.com. There's a menu. There's a option on the menu for it. And all you got to do is click it. It'll take you to the show and all the past shows. Now, we debuted on WMML Radio, which is a Fox Sports station, on Sunday. They air the show on Sunday. We air it live on Saturday, and then you can catch it on Sunday, same show. But it's good, man. It's been getting some good reviews. And this past week, we do talk, like I said, we do talk about the New York teams. But we broke down the NFC as we approach the NFL season. We broke down the NFC. Next week, we're going to break down the AFC and give you our predictions, who we think is going to win the divisions, make the playoffs, and, of course, win the Super Bowl for this year. So check it out, man. I think you'll like it. And we talk about boxing, too. As long as it's New York-based, we talk about it. Fights from Saturday, I'm wrapping it up. He's ranked in the top 5 in some of the sanctioning bodies. Super bantamweight. Victor Terra-ass. No, it's Terra's-ass. He improved to 35 wins, 2 losses, and a draw with 21 wins coming by knockout when he stopped Eduardo Bambino Garcia in the 9th round. Garcia drops to 22 wins, 9 losses, and a draw. The fight was scheduled for 10, I believe, and he moves up in the rankings. I think, at least in our rankings, which are going to be updated today, I believe, either today or Tuesdays they get updated. I'm sorry, they get updated on Tuesdays, but they may be updated today because they were not updated last week. So why don't you check those ratings out? We like them. To tell you the truth, I think they're more accurate than anyone else's. So check it out. In the co-main event, Daniel Sandoval, remember him? In the welterweight division, he improved to 29 wins, 2 losses, 29 of his wins come by knockout. When Gabriel Martinez couldn't come out for the 6th round, so he lost by knockout, and Martinez drops to 27 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. Manuel Vargas, who one-time challenged for a world title, he got beat in an 8-round decision loss to Johnny Garcia in a super flyweight fight. Johnny Garcia improves to 16 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. And former champ Manuel Vargas drops to 33-10 with a draw. And in the super lightweight division, Armando Robles and Rodolfo Quintanilla, they fought to an 8-round draw. Quintanilla, his record now is 12 wins, 1 loss, and a draw. And Robles' record now is 21 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws. Two-time 2-division champ Hugo Cazares, he scored a 12-round unanimous decision over Daniel Diaz in a super bantamweight fight Saturday in Mexico. The way the fight was scored was 118-110, 119-110, 118-111. Interesting stuff. He improves to 37 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws with 26 wins coming by knockout. And Daniel Diaz drops to 19 wins and 4 losses with a draw. And he's got 14 of his wins coming by knockout as well. And then in a shocker, actually, I love seeing a fighter that comes in, that gets brought into town, gets brought into a card just to lose, right? And then they turn around and win. Well, in North Texas, there's that state of Texas I'm falling in love with. At the Arlington Convention Center, we had a fight that took place where you had a fighter who was brought in to win and ended up losing. The main event fight to make things worse, Jesse the Dallas Kid Lara was supposed to make easy work of Don Mouton, both kids out of Texas, but the Dallas Kid, obviously the hometown guy, he goes into that fight with a 16-2 record with 10 knockouts, and guess what? Dan Mouton ends up beating him to improve to 10 wins, 4 losses, and a draw with 9 knockouts, and Lara drops to 16-3. So don't you love it when the rookie comes in and wins? Not the rookie, but the underdog. Also on Sunday we had a couple of fights. That last fight I mentioned was on Saturday, but on Sunday we had a couple of fights. Danny O'Connor, and we'll talk to when I get Emily Harney on. She'll tell us about this card. Danny O'Connor at Foxborough Stadium where the scum Patriots play. Yes, I can't stand the New England Patriots. I'm a Jets fan. Can't stand any of them that wear the Patriots colors. But they had before a football game. No, not NFL football. Soccer football. They had a boxing event, and Danny O'Connor was the main event, and he stopped his opponent Eddie Soto, which was I believe a last minute replacement because they originally had him set to fight James Ventry. So I'm glad that that he went in with a better fighter. Eddie Soto is not that bad of a fighter. I didn't think he was in the same weight class, but that's another story. Danny O'Connor improves to 18 wins, a loss, with 7 knockouts, and Eddie Soto drops to 12 wins, 5 losses, with 4 of his wins coming by knockout. The damage and the stoppage came exactly 1 minute and 9 seconds of round number 4. Billy Traft, he improved to 2-0 and got his first knockout when he stopped Dan Bonnell in the first round in the super middleweight division. Dan Bonnell drops to 0-2. And in the welterweight division, Antonio Chavez Fernandez, he won a 4-round decision over Noel Garcia. Noel Garcia drops to 2 wins and 15 losses for him. The way the scores went, 40-36 was the way 2 of the judges had it, and the third judge saw it at 39-37. And then in a fight that also took place on Sunday out of Japan, Ita Koguchi improved to 14-2 with 4 draws when he stopped Noldi Manacane. I'm sorry, it was a unanimous decision. Moldy Manacane over 10 rounds. 96-94 was the way one judge had it. 96-95 was the way the third judge had it. The second judge had it, and the third judge had it 99-94. How the hell did they add over there in Japan as the main event? So congratulations to him. That wraps up our fights that took place over the weekend. Some interesting ones for show. But anyway, hey, I wanted to mention Dax. My man Dax Khan brought it to my attention, and I didn't see it anywhere else. So I don't know where Dax got it, but some sad news came out of the world of boxing over the weekend. Actually, it was late last week. But Kenny Norton, I guess, has suffered his second stroke, may even have been his third, and he's in a hospital right now. And we wanted to send our condolences out, or wishing him, not our condolences, sorry, wrong choice of words. No condolences. He's not dead yet, people. But, a speedy recovery. Yeah, we want to wish him a speedy recovery to my man Kenny Norton. As you know, I think most people remember his not 1, not 2, but 3 fights with Muhammad Ali. He beat him once. Many people think he should have won all 3. But the famous one was when he broke Ali's jaw in 1973. This was a guy that fought the best heavyweights of the era, including Larry Holmes, George Foreman, Jerry Kawari, and, of course, Ernie Shavers. So we want to wish Kenny Norton a speedy recovery from his stroke that he suffered, I believe, last week. He's 69 years old. 69. So, in the beginning of the show, I talked a little bit about the super heavyweight from Britain that won the gold. Beat my guy, the guy I was pulling for, Anthony Joshua, who is from Britain, and he won the gold medal fighting the Italian Roberto Camerelli. And Camerelli, for all intent and purposes, was winning that fight. To tell you the truth, I got to be honest when I tell you that Anthony Joshua got a gift. Yes, he was very gallant, and he came on very strong in that last round, and he battered around Camerelli. But just like we saw earlier in the Olympics, even when a knockdown, that doesn't really sway it. So why did it sway it on this one? He was clearly down 2 rounds by a decent score going into that third round, and they virtually scored all of that round. All the punches landed for the Brit, Anthony Joshua. Now the Italians, my Goombas, they decided to protest it immediately after the fight, so there was a long delay as they reevaluated and rewatched and everything else, and the Olympic Committee came back and ruled it okay, that it was not out of order. So the gold medal goes to Anthony Joshua, and congratulations to him. The last gold was won by Roberto Camerelli, who I guess gets the silver, right? So We'll see what happens with them. They had, ironically enough, they had Lennox Lewis and Audley Harrison hanging out in the crowd just to get the picture taken of him with Anthony Joshua, with those two guys with Anthony Joshua. So, anyway, Dave Murphy, he just popped into the chat room, and I was waiting to say this, but Dave, I already announced it. We are because of you, we are doing the 10 all-time great middleweights. Who's your all-time great top 10 middleweights? Send them to me, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Now, Dave Murphy posted his in the forum, but Dave, do me a favor, email them to me, and I'll read everybody's top 10 online, on air, I should say, during the week, and I'll give everyone my top 10 on Friday. So, Dave Murphy, do me a favor, email me your top 10, and everyone else, email. No, I wasn't mocking you. I was saying that you prompted us to do the all-time great top 10 list from you guys, the listeners. Email them to me, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Top 10 all-time great middleweights. Who are they? No, what prompted me was Murphy saying that Bernard Hopkins was an all-time 10, and that was that, but anyway, the United States Olympic Committee, talk about having egg on your face. They're pissed off. First time in the history of boxing in the Olympics, the United States has been goldless. Now, I don't think it's fair. I'm an advocate for women's sports, professional sports. And I think that the women were part of our boxing team, so it's not like we didn't come home with any medals. Clarissa Shields won the gold. We got a bronze too. we didn't do the way we thought, but the bottom line is, that we won some medals, but they're really making a big deal about the men not winning any medals. And they thought they actually fielded a good team, but they did a lot of stupid things. They didn't have a coach in place until about a month before. All that stuff. And the bottom line is that, they want to revamp it. There's no question about that. They want to revamp it. They're pissed. They're embarrassed. And they're going to be looking into it. I said this. Now, I've been critical of Teddy Atlas on ESPN Friday Night Fights, but I really think a guy like Teddy Atlas would help our Olympians. I think that they should make Teddy Atlas in charge of our Olympic team and of all of USA boxing. I think they should make him in charge and let him run that program and give it to him right now, and let him build the program. Let him change USA boxing. He's got some great ideas. Let him change it. I think he's a much better amateur guy than a pro. Now, I'm not saying that in disrespect, because he is at times very entertaining on Friday Night Fights, but I think that he's just better off. I think he could help the sport of boxing better by taking over the amateur boxing program. So that's what I vote for. I vote for Teddy Atlas to run the amateur boxing program. All right. Big news. That's right. Lamont, you dummy, Peterson, according to the IBF, he gets to keep his title. I support the IBF in this, and I'll tell you why. Before you start sending me all kinds of nasty emails. Now, first and foremost, I don't like cheaters in any way, shape, or form. I can't stand cheaters. All right? But the reason why I support the IBF in this case is that the IBF actually went the extra mile. The WBA was very quick to, say, you're stripped, give it back to Amir Khan. Oh, by the way, Amir Khan's fighting, so he's going to go into that ring with a title, so therefore we get the sanctioning fees, and now Danny Garcia has the belt. The IBF said, you know what, let's look into it. Before we strip this guy, let's look into it. Now everything that has transpired, Lamont Peterson requested the drug testing. He was the one that requested it. And him and Amir Khan were going to fight in May as a follow-up to the December fight. that was controversial, that Lamont Peterson won, and he wanted Olympic-style testing. So they do the test, and what happens? He tests dirty. Lamont Peterson tests dirty. So now Amir Khan starts crying. Remember the whole crying thing, blah, blah, blah. WBA strips him. Nevada strips him of his license, and he's got to do all this. Then it comes out that Lamont Peterson says, well, the reason why I tested positive is because I'm on a testosterone steroid for a medical condition that my doctor prescribed to me. And by the way, I was on it for the December fight. Oh, geez, now Amir Khan is, I should get that title back. I didn't lose. He was a cheater. He was a cheater. He was a cheater. And subsequently, that's why he was under review for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Well, the IBF went and hired some specialists to evaluate the tests, both tests. The test that VADA, and the test that Washington, D.C. did. And they learned and were educated about why one test was positive and one test was negative. And, oh, by the way, when he took the follow-up test in May, it turned out negative. And, so they never really brought that out. So what the IBF learned from their expert, from their medical expert and their advice, was that the levels were so low. Even though they came up in Nevada test, which I'm not saying is okay, but even though they came up in the Nevada test, the specialist said that the levels were so low that there was no way in hell that they would have made the performance any different, and therefore it was a non-issue. And based on that testimony, so to speak, the IBF has let Lamont Peterson keep his belt. Now, Lamont's happier than a pig, and you know what. And here's the other stipulation, that the IBF also has ordered a fight now with the number one contender who fought, Zab Judah, who fought for an elimination fight. So therefore, this fight, which was supposed to be taking place by September, has now been ordered by the IBF to get this fight done. They're going to give him a little extra time. But here's my problem. That part of it I'm okay with. I'm okay with the intelligent way that the IBF went around doing it. Instead of just, focusing on their sanctioning fees, I feel that they were intelligent doing that. However, I think that they were pulling a WBC in regards to them making this announcement like, that's it, it's over. Now Lamont Peterson can fight again and everything else, when that is definitely not the case. And the reason why is because he's suspended. And until Nevada releases the suspension, he can't fight anywhere in the United States. And, then it's up to the discretion of all commissions whether they want to issue Lamont Peterson a license. So this isn't over yet, but it's a step in the right direction for Lamont Peterson. Now, Amir Khan, and I always think of Given Quality's email to me when he wrote Amir Khan, A space MERE space CON, started acting the way he did originally. Now, Amir Khan was a guy who just got knocked out. He was a guy that just was saying, by the way, maybe I'm going to reevaluate my trainer because, Freddie doesn't give me enough time and doesn't give me enough dedication and this, that, and the other thing. And, maybe we're going to evaluate it. I'm not blaming anybody, but maybe we're going to evaluate it. And now he goes back on to the tweet. He starts the tweet fight again. And he says, I read somewhere the IBF gave Peterson the title back, and I heard that he's fighting Judah next. Wow. It must be okay to take drugs in boxing and still box. That was one comment he made. Next comment he made was, Peterson was caught all juiced up, so the WBA reinstated the title back. The IBF, I heard, have Peterson still the champion and no ban. What's the point of drug tests? And he goes on to say, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter one bit about what the IBF has done. It's just unfair in the sport. Getting caught taking drugs He says, LOL, he can keep the title and the W. You don't think he's bitter? You don't think Zab's a little bitter here? I mean, come on. Come on. Now, first of all, Amir Khan needs to shut the F up and get back on track here. I told you guys that he was spending too much time, that losing his belt to Peterson affected him mentally. And what do you think losing, when he got it back and he was so happy and then he loses it to Danny Garcia, not only loses it but gets knocked out, laid out by Danny Garcia. To say that Lamont was all juiced up and cheating and all of this, I kind of think that was a little overkill. He tested positive, but we never saw the levels. The levels were extremely low. And it was prescribed by a doctor. And the IBF, their expert, says, and we've heard this in the past, that the levels were so low that it would not have enhanced any kind of performance in that fight. And it didn't help him win the December fight either. So with all that said, I mean, come on. Come on, man. I think that they're a little crazy. Now, speaking of Freddie Roach, which I did mention Freddie Roach, did you catch the two latest issues with Freddie Roach? First of all, Latif Coyote, he's the cruiserweight. Remember, he's the one that fought Antonio Tarver to a draw, and he was talking smack at the end. Antonio Tarver was talking smack at the end, and a week later we find out Antonio Tarver, he juiced up. He was juiced. And Latif Coyote is an overrated fighter a bit, being rushed along. He's not that great, but he trains with Freddie Roach. Well, and we all know he's a little nuts, right? Well, he was training the other day, last week, and was sparring with a fighter, Malik Scott, who actually is had a lot of potential. And one of his trainers, his name is Jesse Arrivelo. And Arrivelo, after they sparred, after Scott and Coyote sparred, I guess Arrivelo said something that Latif Coyote didn't like. So he hit him. Took his gloves off and he hit him. In front of people, witnesses and everything. Yeah. Man, that's wrong to do. But you want to know something? Arrivelo was wrong to say that. And I'll tell you why. I know sticks and stones will break your bones, but names should never hurt you. I know that. But you know what the truth of the matter is? We're in the boxing business. The boxing business is a hurt business. You're dealing with individuals that are trained. You're training them to respond to you, a word, a command, a punch number, sequence, or whatever. You train your fighters to respond to you. It's like I hate to use the analogy, but it's like an attack-trained dog. You train a dog to do something on a command. Well, boxers, they're trained how to fight. They're trained how to defend themselves. They're trained on, when the cornerman's yelling 6-2-3, that's a punch combination. Well, why would you say something that would offend a fighter like Latif Coyote that automatically is kind of a wackadoodle? And then to make things worse, you know what bothers me the most about this? I mean, you know how I am, right? Arrivelo runs to the police and wants to press criminal charges. He's like a little snitch, a little girl. I can't stand that. I can't stand snitches. I cannot stand little tattletales. That's like the kid that starts to fight at school, gets his ass kicked, and then runs home and tells his mommy, and then mommy goes to the school and yells at the principal. That's what this guy's doing. He's the one that started it. Now, granted, he didn't throw a punch, and we all know as adults living in the normal world, you know, people can say things to you, but you're not allowed to throw a punch, But this is boxing. This is the hurt business. I think both of these guys were wrong. Both. I got arrested once for threatening someone, and the guy called the police, and they came down and arrested me because I put the guy's name in because I threatened him, and they did that. So, but I'm not in the boxing. I'm not a boxer, just because you threaten a guy, you can get arrested. This guy instigates it and then calls the police. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. One other thing before I take a break, I'm going to get Emily Harney, and I'm going to talk about this a little more. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is in the biggest fight of his career. He's scheduled to fight September 15th against Sergio Martinez. Don't you think he should be training? Well, what if I told you that he hasn't been in his training camp for 4 days? Decided he didn't feel like training. Shows up and then works extra hours for one night. What's up with that, man? What's up with that? What's going on with Freddie Roach? Freddie Roach is losing control of his fighters, man. You got his one guy beating up on his other trainer. You got another guy that's fighting in the fight of his life, not even showing up for training. You got another one that's trying to get rid of him because he doesn't train him enough. And, oh, yeah, you got Manny Pacquiao that he puts all his focus in, and Manny Pacquiao hasn't looked good for 3 fights. What's up with Freddie Roach, man? When do we blame him?
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
Mike Tyson looked like he put on some pounds. He was fat. He went into McDonald's and he just said to them, hey, give me 6 of everything on the menu. He put on 2 watches and covered 2 time zones. I'm talking fat here. Got on a scale the other day and it said, come on, one of you guys got to get up. Last thing I heard is that he jumped into the ocean and he left a ring around the continent. He's fat.
Boxing
with Billy C.
Time for another major in golf. This time it's across the pond for the Open Championship. What's at stake? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
Want to put some wild into your weekend? Come to the all-new Mesquite Pro Rodeo. Corral seats start at just $12, and kids are always half price. Get your tickets at Kroger and save $5. This weekend, meet the rodeo legends. Tractor Supply sponsors the Neil Gay Cowboy Reunion. The city ends and the Wild West begins at cool air-conditioned Mesquite Arena, I-635 and Exit 4, 7:30 Friday and Saturday. Mesquite is the official rodeo capital of Texas.
Filled with tricky pot bunkers that you have to climb into, no less, this year's Open at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's in England is certain to be tough, even for the most seasoned professional golfer. Tiger Woods, who hasn't won a major in 4 years, is looking to pick up his 15th career title. The last American to win at Royal Lytham was David Duval in 2001. Should Woods win, it would be his 4th Open, the last back in 2006. The Americans and the Europeans and everybody else in between know that this is no walk in the park, and with rain expected, they'll need more than umbrellas and a good caddy to navigate this 7,086-yard course that rewards great ball striking and punishes the rest. Whoever wins the Claret Jug will no doubt be playing some target golf at this major. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Now back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway. Up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights up a silhouette. He's disappointed net. Coming at you on the count of 1.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. You watch this on the Fight Now television channel. And if you don't have Fight Now in your sports channel lineup, well, then you need to call your local television provider, whether it's satellite, digital, or cable, and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them. For all information about the channel, you can find it on the website, www.fightnow.com. Speaking of now, joining us, boxing's best photographer, Emily Harney. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys forever.
About a month.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
Hey, you were at the fights last night at the stadium, right? So how were they?
I was. Talking about an amazing night. It was really cool. I mean, it was a little disappointing that the ring was not on the field. I think we were all looking forward to that, but we'll deal with where it was. It was a great night of boxing. And it was great to see Danny O'Connor finally get that knockout.
I
mean, he's like a real knockout. I know we've talked about this many times that he doesn't have a lot of knockouts behind him, and he did it last night. I saw a different Danny O'Connor. I think working with Ronnie Shields has really helped him put together the right pieces. He worked the body really well, and you could tell Soto was starting to really hurt around the second round, just backing up quite a bit.
It's funny because I had gotten to see Danny fight several times, and we've talked about him in the past. And his punches always sounded like they were devastating, and he did work the body. Did Ronnie help him? Like, I thought he wasn't turning over his punches right. Like he was making the thud, but he wasn't actually getting the power behind it. Does it look like he's finally got it all together now?
It does. It really does. And I think it's a work in progress still, but you can tell he's really starting to put the pieces together where they're supposed to be.
That's great because I thought that he was exciting. The fans love him, and I think it was just strange sitting in an arena and hear him land a punch that you hear. I mean, you could be in the cheap seats and you hear it, and the guy's not going anywhere, and you're saying to yourself, what? How come he's not falling down? But that's good to know. Now, that opponent, he originally was supposed to fight somebody else, and then Eddie Soto stepped in. I found that strange because Eddie Soto actually does pretty well for himself in the same area, right?
Yeah, he doesn't do too bad, I think he was definitely, no doubt, overmatched, but he definitely came to fight. This isn't a kid that just comes in there and takes the paycheck. He comes to fight. He doesn't want to go down with a loss, so he did definitely show up, but you could tell every time Danny would hit him in the body, he would back up. He did not like those body shots one bit. And I thought, around the second round, coming into the third round, this would be it. But it did end up going into the fourth round, and Danny was able to stop him with a body shot, not put him down. But, this, like I said, this kid did come to fight. He's definitely a warrior, and I think Danny acknowledged that in the end, too. I think some people thought, why is Eddie taking this fight? He's gonna get killed, and he didn't. He fared somewhat well against Danny O'Connor.
The backdrop was at the stadium, obviously, and they were going to do a soccer game. That was the soccer game before or after the fight? I think it was after, right?
The soccer game was before.
Oh, before. Okay.
Yes.
Now, did a lot of people stick around and watch?
They did.
Oh, good.
They did. I don't think it was probably publicized the best that it could have been because
they didn't use the right guy. Because they didn't use the right guy, right?
Well, they don't know anything in terms of boxing because half the boxing world didn't know that this fight was happening unless you went to BoxRec, and you saw that the date was up. And I say this all the time, like, you got to promote your fights, you got to promote your fighters, and you can't just think, well, it's fight, it'll sell itself. It doesn't. It's not Pacquiao. It's not Mayweather. It's not the name. You got to go out and sell your fight. But Danny O'Connor has a huge O'Connor clan, and a kid on the undercard, Billy Traft, he brought a huge crowd with him too, and he looked great too. So I think both of these guys are going to have a good fan train riding into the next fight.
Now, there was more than 2 fights, right? Somebody's asking me that there was only 2 fights.
There were 3 fights.
3, yeah, I knew that too.
Yeah, so not much more. But it was a good night. It was a perfect night, especially if you were at the game. It ended it well, and I'm sure if you were at the game and you were a Revs fan, you were disappointed because they lost. So you could come up here and see great fights, and that's what people got, 3 really good fights.
Well, I heard that the soccer fans have better fights in the stands half the time, so you never know. Hey, that's good. I'm glad to hear about the improvement that you saw with Danny, because I like the kid, and I hope it really helps him. I wanted to ask your opinion on a couple of things that we're talking about, and I'm getting some people that are agreeing and disagreeing with me in our live chat room. Latif Coyote, now I don't know if you heard this or not, but I'll tell you, Latif Coyote was training with another trainer, not Freddie Roach, one of his secondary trainers. His name is Jesse Arivelo. And apparently after a sparring match last week, he took his gloves off, Coyote did, and Ariello said something, I don't know what he said. It wasn't released exactly what he said, but Coyote, who's not exactly, wrapped that tightly, snapped and hit the guy, hit the trainer. And, I think that's wrong. I think it's 100% wrong that he hits his trainer. However, the trainer turned around and ran to the police and is now pressing criminal charges against Latif Coyote. And I kind of thought that they were both wrong because, you're in a business where, you're training a fighter to respond to different commands and different game plans and everything else. And you say something, even though the old saying, sticks and stones, hurt your bones or whatever.
Yeah.
But what do you think, man? Am I wrong to think that this guy was a snitch running to the police? I'm not saying Coyote was right at all. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I don't know if I can support the other guy's move after just taking the shot.
Well, I actually think I'm right there with you. You're not taking an issue that was some random attack on the street of two guys who don't know each other, and Latif Coyote is this professional fighter who shouldn't be doing that on the street. You're in a setting where this is what you do. You fight, you box, and we understand the relationship between a trainer and a fighter and a manager, a fighter and a promoter. It's got to be almost like a father-son relationship because you are that close. There's arguments, there's fights. Not to say that it's okay to put your hands up and answer, the situation with punches. And I understand this is what they do in this business, but y'all should be able to work it out before you got to go to the police. And it sounds like it was an internal issue. So why not try to work it out before you go that route instead of running away? And that's where it kind of sounds like. I don't know the situation. Obviously, neither of us were there, so we don't know how this whole thing went down. But there seems like there should have been a resolution prior to running off and doing that, because I think we all know in this business when you involve legal issues, it gets even more disastrous than it needs to.
No, you're right. And this business, it's just the mentality of a fighter. You're forcing the fighter to have a different mentality while they're fighting, while their career is alive. You want a guy to have that kind of an attitude, and then if you're trying to train him, or if you're trying to build that up, and then it's like training a dog to go outside, and then all of a sudden they don't have to go outside anymore. I don't know. It's just I thought it was kind of crazy, and now obviously if he hit him so hard that he ended up in the hospital and he did some physical damage and all of that, then maybe you have a leg to stand on. But to me, it just seems like the bully at school that gets beat up and then runs home and tells mommy. That's what it seems like to me. But another weird thing that happened, two other things, and I know you're busy, but two other things. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is in the biggest fight of his career against Sergio Martinez. Nobody could really dispute that. Whether you think Sergio is going to win or Chavez is going to win or whatever. And it was reported that he decided to miss 4 days in a row of training camp because he didn't feel like going in. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, one of his last fights, we heard right before that he had been arrested for a DUI and that had been kept hush-hush. This is a kid who probably hasn't enjoyed anything that, myself as an adolescent enjoyed, yourself as an adolescent enjoyed. It's a different lifestyle, so I can't hate on the kid for wanting to take the time to enjoy being a kid. How old is he? 24 at the most? And so, I look at my life when I was 24 and the things that I was doing. It's got to be hard to stay completely disciplined, especially in the lifestyle that he's living, too. This kid has gone from fight to fight to fight to fight to fight, and probably not really had much of a break in between, if anything, maybe a week or two. But you got to probably figure at some point your head starts spinning and you say, well, where's my life? All my friends are doing this, all my friends are doing that. Why can't I go do that? So I can kind of understand where he's coming from in doing it, but look at where you're at right now. You got a month and a half left of training at the most for a huge fight, and it could be, a determining fight in terms of what happens afterwards, big, small, whatever. So, is it worth those 3 days, 4 days, to risk it all? I don't know. I'm not in that position, but at the same time, I can say I can't understand how he can do what he does day after day after day and not have a vacation. But, a month and a half to go. Let's really look at it. You probably could have gotten through it without taking those 4 days off.
Yeah, it's a tough one because professional athletes, us normal folk can't really put ourselves in that position. They're such at a higher level for any sport, not only boxing, and it's a choice that they make early on, and some of these, even like ball players or whatever, they know where they're going, and by the time they're in high school, they know that they're that good or whatever. And I would think a fighter like him who had the namesake and, was being groomed, that's a decision he made. And I agree with you, that it sucks, not being able to be a kid. But, the other side of the coin is, he's going to have a healthy bank account, too, over it, So that's a tough one. I think that some of the disciplinary issues we're starting to see have a common theme, and it's Freddie Roach. And I'm wondering if he's losing his grip on these guys, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with youth, It's, I don't know. We all love Freddie Roach, and, it's time to start looking at him and say, well, maybe it's a little bit of him, Look at Manny. Manny has looked terrible in his last 3 fights. It's just, there just seems to be so much dissension, and honestly, Freddie hasn't given any positive adjustments in the corner, especially with Amir Khan. And speaking of Amir Khan, the IBF just made a statement that he's still the champ. And although I don't want to see dirty fighters, and I think that obviously I support the testing and everything. However, I thought the IBF did a good move by educating themselves and hiring a expert to tell them exactly what the levels that he did test for, if they would have made a difference, and they evaluated all of that before they made their decision. What do you think?
No, I agree. They put it in the hands, I think, of the right people, to make that decision, and you got to respect them for that, from not just saying, oh, well, he's a champion. They did, I think, what they had to do to back themselves up. But, in terms of Freddie Roach, and I think this goes with any trainer, I think sometimes there comes a point where you can only get to a certain point with who you're with, and you as the fighter and as a team need to, evaluate what's happening, and is this still working for you? By no means does that mean that Freddie Roach is a bad trainer at all. But I think it's just sometimes you can't get to the next level, for whatever reason. There's some sort of roadblock. And, is it the trainer that, isn't sure what to do with you next or tell you what to do? Is it the fighter that doesn't want to listen to the trainer or, doesn't think that the trainer is giving them the right information? There's many things. Again, you come down to that relationship where you're with this person 24/7. They're like your father or your brother, or your wife maybe. So it's a difficult relationship. It's trying, and you're at a level that not a high percentage of fighters see. So the pressure is even greater.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt, and he's battling other things, obviously, and it's just when I saw the Amir Khan fights, both of them, the one against Lamont Peterson, and then of course the Danny Garcia fight, what we saw was Danny Garcia's corner making adjustments that obviously make them look good, as we saw the end result, and Freddie Roach not saying anything to Amir Khan, and when you go back and you look at the tape with the Lamont Peterson fight, he didn't say anything in that fight either. And then when you look at specifically the last Manny Pacquiao fight, against, when he lost his title against Timothy Bradley, which I admit was a robbery, but still, Freddie Roach wasn't giving him any instruction there, and here's a guy that, I always praised for being able to, say one or two things in the corner and say it in a way where he knew his fighter was listening, actually straining to listen to him. And then not only did they listen, they perform what he said. And all of a sudden, they're coming back to the corner. They're obviously, like you said, a father-son type relationship. They're looking to this man for guidance, and he's giving them water, asking them if they feel okay. Is there something wrong with the guy? We put him on a pedestal, and don't get me wrong, he's one of the best guys in the business, but his fighters haven't been doing too well, Emily.
No, I agree, and you got to question what's really going on there, because he's not the Floyd Mayweather or the Oscar De La Hoyas that have been in there long enough where the person in their corner is just giving them water, and they don't really need to hear, you need to do this, you need to do that. Every fighter kind of needs to hear that once in a while, but there are certain guys that have been in there long enough, I think, that they know how to make the adjustments. Things can be said once in a while, and it gets them by. But, Amir Khan needed him, and he wasn't there. He didn't speak the words that Amir needed to hear to put him in the right position to get through that fight.
Yeah, well, it's like, actually, I got to get going, but it's like this. We criticize the guys we call rah-rah men. We criticize those guys. We criticize the guys that are saying, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to go up, you got to go down, you got to go do this, ding, and then the fighter jumps out and he's like, I didn't hear a word anybody said, And you actually, look to the guys that say one or two things, they make the adjustments, and, they're the effective ones. But what separates a good fighter is his corner that can make the adjustment. And as a fighter, it becomes a crutch. You look for that, and you come back and, maybe you're not landing your punches that you're trying to throw the right way, or maybe he's landing too many on you, and you want to go back and look to your trainer, for his advice. Maybe he sees something that you don't, and that's what you're accustomed to, and it just seems that Freddie's fighters aren't getting it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't know what it is, and I hope there's some resolve to it, because you got fighters in there that no doubt need them. And have huge opportunities that are going to come their way, and that could be a deciding factor in the way things go.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, listen, Emily, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show again, and we look forward to the next time. Just let me know.
Thanks, guys. Nice to be on.
All right, Emily, take care. That's boxing's best photographer, Emily Harney, giving us, first of all, her report. She was ringside. She took some great shots. You'll see her pictures all over the internet of the fight of Danny O'Connor Sunday at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, which, of course, is the home of the Patriots. Us Jet fans can't stand that. And then giving us her thoughts on some topics that I'm pretty hot on right now. Of course, the IBF situation with Lamont Udemy Peterson and Latif Coyote. Do we blame Freddie Roach? Really, do we start to blame Freddie Roach? We can't blame Freddie Roach for Latif Coyote hitting his other trainer. We certainly can't blame Freddie Roach for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. not showing up to training for 4 days. I'm not suggesting that. However, what I'm looking at is the fact that it just seems that he's maybe losing control. I mentioned the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight and Sergio Martinez, and I can't wait to be out in Las Vegas for that fight. But they announced, and we touched on it a little bit last week, they announced some the undercard, and we got some great fights. Now, Guillermo Rigondeaux against Marroquin is going to be for the Super Bantamweight Championship, and that one ought to be a good one. I think. We'll have to wait and see. But Roberto Marroquin is a Filipino that, and I know I'm saying his name wrong, but he's going to be a test for Guillermo Rigondeaux. And then, of course, you got Miguel Beltran Jr. Going up against going up against Martinez. Well, they're going to be fighting for the vacant WBO junior lightweight title, and that's Rocky Martinez, not the other Martinez who's in the main event. That's Roman Rocky Martinez. And then, we got a pretty decent fight. Matthew Macklin, Mac the Knife, he's going up against a guy that we had one of our people in the chat room a couple of weeks ago was saying that he loves this guy, Joam Alcine, who's fighting out of Canada right now. That's going to be in the middleweight division. And the Subway guy, Mike Lee. Yeah, Mike Lee, the fighter that's in the Subway commercials. He's going to be going up in a 6-round fight in the light heavyweight division against somebody that we're going to be filled in on sometime down the road. But anyway, you know what time it is right now, right? It's time for this.
Wake up. It's time for It's too early for a trivia question.
Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question is being brought to us by Gleason's Gym. That's right, Gleason's Gym, the famed Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn, New York. Give them a call right now, 718-797-2872. That's 718-797-2872. If you haven't signed up for the boxing fantasy camp, you still got some time. So give them a call, and you'll get a Billy C discount. All you got to do is mention Billy C. You can call Gleason's, 718-797-2872, or you can visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click the Gleason's Gym banner. Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question has to wait because we're going to give you Friday's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question. And this was the last one in a series of who fought the most fights during the era. Now, we started with the 1900s, and we worked all the way up until 1999. The question was, who fought in the most fights from 1990 to 1999? I knew somebody was going to get this fairly quickly, but I didn't think it was going to be that quick. And the guy who knew that it was Reggie Strickland with 259 fights. Now, Reggie Strickland isn't exactly have a winning record, but the guy that knew it was a guy that has been in the chat room on a regular basis. Congratulations to Dave Murphy. Now, what was on the line, and is an interesting backdrop here, what was on the line as a prize was the Holyfield Way, written by James Thomas, and in my opinion, it was the best Holyfield book ever written. And when I got Dave's address to send him the book, he wanted to do something a little special, and we all talked about the great loss, not only for the sport of boxing, but specifically for our show. We lost David Allen, who was a longtime listener and a friend of mine and a friend of a lot of people who are involved in this show, and we miss him dearly. And there was kind of a running joke going on between a lot of us and Dave Murphy, who started it all, and a book that we had a lot of, courtesy of prizefightingbooks.com. It was called Blood in My Coffee. It is called Blood in My Coffee. And it's written by Dr. Ferdy Pacheco. It's his life, and it's an interesting read. And Dave Murphy was always busting chops about this book. And he brought it to my attention that he actually never read the book. And as a tribute to David Allen, he decided that this is the book that he wants. So Dave Murphy is going to get a copy of Blood in My Coffee, the Dr. Ferdy Pacheco story, for getting the question right. So congratulations, Dave. And that was a great thing you did by dedicating that victory and our little inside joke to David Allen. So today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question will have on the line, courtesy of prizefightingbooks.com, The Holyfield Way, the same book that Dave Murphy chose to pass up and take the Blood in My Coffee book. It's written by James Thomas, in my opinion, the best Holyfield book out there. That's yours if you know this answer. Who was Noah Brusso? Who was Noah Brusso? If you know who Noah Brusso was, email me, Billy at talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing.com, and you'll get a copy of the Holyfield book. Who was Noah Brusso? Email me, Billy at talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing.com.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you're looking for a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble. That is Campanaro and Tomkovich. Give them a call today, 845-221-4099. That's 845-221-4099. Remember, let Campanaro and Tomkovich knock out your legal problem. 845-221-4099. Tell them Billy C sent you and that I'm going to pick up the consultation fee. 845-221-4099. Campanaro and Tomkovich to handle all your attorney needs. On this day, August 13th, it was on the year I was born. August 13th, 1900. Ruby Ferns knocks out Eddie Connolly in the 15th round to win the world welterweight title, and that took place on this day, August 13th in 1900 in Buffalo. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. We got a lot of stuff going on this week, so make sure you tune in. I do have one more thing to say. You know what it is? Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Well, there's only one channel. It's the Fight Now channel. Call your local television provider right now and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them for all the information about the channel. You can find it on their website, www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.